We thought putting up a simple above-ground pool for our kids would be the highlight of their summer. Instead, it turned into a nightmare that ended with Child Protective Services knocking at our door. Why? Because Karen next door said we were endangering our children. But what she didn't know was that her lie would backfire in the most epic way possible. Hey everyone, welcome back to Karen Karma, where entitled behavior meets cold, hard karma. If you've ever had a neighbor who took things too far, you'll want to hear this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you enjoy seeing justice served. It started on a sunny afternoon in June. My wife Ashley and I had finally saved enough money to surprise our two kids with something special, a pool. It wasn't anything fancy, just a 12-foot above-ground one from Walmart, but to our 6- and 8-year-old, it might as well have been Disney World. We spent the whole weekend setting it up. The kids helped pick out floaties, and we even strung up a few solar lights around the backyard fence to make it feel festive. The moment it was ready, they jumped in, laughing louder than they had in months. After the stress of the pandemic and job cuts, it felt like we were finally breathing again. But apparently, happiness was against the rules, at least according to our neighbor, Karen. Karen lived in the house directly behind ours. You know the type. Binoculars by the window, peeking through the blinds like she's the head of the FBI. She wasn't just nosy, she was territorial. HOA president, self-appointed community watchdog, and expert in making everyone else's life miserable. By Monday, we had already gotten the first warning. Karen claimed our pool violated backyard noise ordinances. Mind you, this was 3 p.m. on a Saturday with two kids laughing, not a rave. Then came the safety complaint. She knocked on our door with her signature pink clipboard and said, "Your pool isn't professionally secured. It poses a risk to neighborhood children." We tried to be polite, but it was clear. This wasn't about safety. It was about control. A week later, it escalated. My wife answered the door, and 2 CPS agents were standing there. Someone had filed a report claiming we were endangering our kids by leaving them unsupervised in a pool with no fence, no safety equipment, and no adult supervision. My heart dropped. The kids were inside, perfectly fine, but suddenly we were under investigation. We showed the agents everything: the pool, the locking gate, the pool cover, even the receipts for the safety ladder and flotation devices. They took notes, asked a few questions, and left. But the emotional damage was done. Ashley was in tears. Our kids were confused and scared. Then, a few days later, I saw it. Karen was outside talking to another neighbor, actually bragging, that she did what had to be done to protect the children in this neighborhood. That was it. I was done playing nice. I filed a formal complaint with the HOA about harassment. Then I contacted the CPS agent who had visited us and shared what we believed, that Karen had made a false report. To my surprise, she said we weren't the only ones. There had been 4 other families in the area who'd received mysterious CPS visits after minor disagreements with, you guessed it, Karen. The agency opened a case. Meanwhile, one of my other neighbors, Mr. Jenkins, told me he had installed a Ring camera a few months ago. He had footage, clear as day, of Karen taking photos of our backyard, our kids, and even sticking her phone through the fence slats. We turned that footage over to CPS and the police. Within weeks, Karen was being investigated for harassment and filing false reports, a misdemeanor offense in our state. And the karma? Oh, it came hard. Karen was removed from the HOA board after multiple residents signed a petition. She received a formal cease and desist from Child Protective Services. But the icing on the cake? Her own backyard deck, built without a permit, was reported and torn down after an inspection. Karen thought she could control the neighborhood through fear and fake accusations, but she forgot one important thing. When you mess with good people, especially families just trying to give their kids a summer to remember, karma always comes knocking. Thanks for watching Karen Karma. If you've ever had a run-in with a Karen, Drop your story in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales of entitlement and epic justice.